Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news out of Israel. We are learning new details about the 2 American hostages who are free tonight after being held captive by Hamas for nearly 2 weeks in Gaza. This is the first photo of a mother and her teenage daughter taken just moments after they crossed the border into Israel and into safety. Natalie Raanan and her mother Judith, who are from the Chicago area, were in Israel to celebrate a family member's 85th birthday. The 17-year-old's father tonight telling CBS News his daughter is doing okay. This picture just released shows President Biden speaking on the phone with them, saying they have the full support of the U.S. government as they recover from the unimaginable. There are still about 200 hostages from 40 countries being held in Gaza. And tonight, the border crossing with Egypt remains closed despite an agreement to allow much-needed humanitarian aid into the region. The Secretary of State saying he expects we'll, quote, see that moving soon. We have team coverage tonight, starting with CBS's Charlie D'Agata in Tel Aviv. Good evening, Charlie.
Good evening to you, Nora. An Israeli spokesman said tonight the 2 women are safely in the hands of Israeli troops. Personnel from the Red Cross helped escort them from Gaza into Israel. Relatives of other captives here welcomed the release, appealing for more hostages to be freed.
Judith Raanan and her 17-year-old daughter, Natalie, had come to Israel to celebrate the 85th birthday of Judith's mother. Israeli officials say they were kidnapped by Hamas gunmen from the Nahal Oz kibbutz, not more than a few hundred yards away from Gaza, during the militant group's murderous rampage on October 7th.
These 2 Americans are now safely in the hands of Israeli authorities in Israel. We welcome their release. We share in the relief that their families, friends, and loved ones are feeling. But there are still 10 additional Americans who remain unaccounted for in this conflict. We know that some of them are being held hostage by Hamas, along with an estimated 200 other hostages.
Meyer Hecht is their rabbi in Evanston, Illinois.
This news that Judith and Natalie have been released from the hands of Gaza Hamas terrorists is overwhelming. And really, we have this tremendous gratitude to God.
The breakthrough came tonight when Hamas announced it was releasing the 2 Americans on humanitarian grounds, following negotiations through Qatari mediators. Later confirmed by the Israeli Defense Forces spokesman, saying they are within the territory of Israel and in the arms of the army. U.S. officials say a small number of Americans scattered and hidden away amid catastrophic destruction and violent chaos in Gaza. Today, a symbolic ceremony was held by family members in Tel Aviv. 203 empty seats at a Shabbat dinner their loved ones may never join. Getting the hostages out alive during a major ground invasion is a challenge not seen on this scale here before.
It's a war zone.
Yeah, it's different than other hostage-taking scenarios. This is a different sort of scenario. This is a war zone.
Doron Avital is the former commander of Israel's elite special forces unit, Sayeret Matkal. Extracting hostages in the middle of an active war zone is the last option.
You're going to have troops that are moving in, troops that are coming under fire. You're going to have booby traps, tunnels, snipers. And within that scenario, you're going to have
I think
groups
it's a major challenge, and a challenge that Israel never encountered in the past.
He told us in the event of a full-scale invasion, specialist hostage teams would actually work in tandem with invading Israeli forces. But even then, the hope is that negotiations would still be taking place on the ground rather than trying to rescue the individual hostages by force. Nora?
You know, Charlie and I wonder, since those hostages were released, have the airstrikes stopped?
Actually, our colleagues inside Gaza said the airstrike stopped at about 12:30 this afternoon, about 5 hours before the hostages were released. And as far as we know, they haven't resumed since.
That's a bit of news. Charlie D'Agata, thank you.